IK Multimedia have launched the second generation of their iLoud Precision 5, 6 and MTM studio monitors, and they have sent me a pair of the MTM Mark IIs to review. In this video, we're going to discuss the improvements over the Mark 1s, the new ARC-X software, and of course, how they sound. But the question is, are they worth considering for your home studio? Let's find out. Hi, I'm Thorne, a mixing and mastering engineer in London, and if you follow this channel, you'll know that I love speakers. I have a playlist full of speaker reviews in the description below, and I have plenty more speaker reviews coming up in the next few weeks. Now, I first heard the original Mark 1s at Rack Studios in London, and I was instantly impressed with the quality they deliver for the price. Plus, the integration of their ARC speaker calibration software into the speakers while storing the correction profile data on the speakers is a very useful tool. At launch, the models are priced as shown on screen now. Now, although these are not budget speakers, as you'll see in the video, hopefully for the price, they offer exceptional value for money. The Mark II iLoud range features a new, more advanced tweeter design utilizing an ultra-lightweight construction and graphene reinforcement to enhance rigidity, improve transparency, and minimize distortion. An improved enclosure design apparently optimizes sonic clarity, providing more precise transient response and improving the soundstage. And there are new built-in fixing and mounting options with brackets sold separately. IK have also introduced ARC-X with this release, which replaces both X Monitor and ARC-4 software. ARC-X features more advanced calibration algorithms, customization options, and virtual monitor profiles, and comes included with the Precision Mark IIs. Registered owners of the original iLoud Precision monitors and ARC Studio can download ARC-X for free through the IK Product Manager application. Now, note that RK is not backwards compatible with current measurement files you may have from earlier ARC system versions, e.g. ARC-4, due to the new algorithm improvements, so you will need to take new measurements with this software. However, the same microphone will work, and all should be good. The MTM Mark IIs have a continuous maximum SPL of 105.5 decibels, maximum peak SPL of 117 decibels, two 5-inch ultra-light coated paper midwoofers, 1.5-inch low distortion graphene textile dome tweeter. They feature a symmetrical MTM design, more on this in a moment, and have a frequency response of plus or minus 1 decibel from 45 to 30 kilohertz, and at minus 4 dB they go down to 37 hertz, and the internal processing power is at 96 kilohertz. Each speaker is supplied with 4 isolation pods to minimize vibration transferring into and from stands and desks, an ARC MEMS microphone and clip, an IEC kettle lead, and USB-A cable for the calibration process. Now, I'm not quite sure why IK is shipping speakers individually with a microphone in each box and not in pairs with just one microphone, which would reduce their environmental impact. But there may be logistical reasons for this that I'm not aware of, and I suppose it's probably useful to have a spare microphone at some point. And I'm also not sure why they've opted for USB-A when every computer now hosts USB-C connections. Adapters to the rescue. The MTM Precision Mark IIs feature the MTM or mid-tweeter mid-speaker array format, which has been popularized by the Finnish brand Amphion, and there are several reasons why this is popular. The MTM format narrows the vertical dispersion of the speaker, which helps minimize influence of room acoustics, in particular the floor-to-ceiling modes caused by frequencies bouncing between the floor and the ceiling and cancelling themselves out, creating a null or dead spot in the listening position. Utilizing 2 small woofers enables the speaker to extend lower into the frequency range while often benefiting from faster low-end transient articulation and keeping sound pressure levels in the room low, which can compound room acoustic problems. And in my own experience of Amphion's speakers, this genuinely does help. Straight out of the box, I instantly felt, this is how music should sound. They are immediately considerably less influenced by the acoustic performance of my room compared to other speakers I've been testing in this new studio build. The mid-range is lush and full, the phantom center is strong and prominent, the stereo imaging and width is lovely and wide. Now the depth of field is good enough for mixing, but this is one area where I have to say more expensive speakers generally excel more than speakers in this price range, particularly three-way speakers for their additional dispersion. Now you may find yourself exaggerating the depth in a mix to compensate for this, which may or may not translate well, but that's something you'll just have to test for yourself. The speakers sound very well balanced, they're very detailed, and I'm very confident I can mix well on them. Now the low end and the top end transients are pretty punchy, you know, again, for the price point. These are very punchy speakers. I'm so used to mixing on significantly more expensive speakers now that I would suggest that the transients in the low end and the top end feel slightly softened, and you may be tempted to overcompensate for that with your transient designing in a mix or a production. But this is only compared to extremely expensive speakers, so the fact that I'm even comparing the micro details of these speakers to significantly more expensive speakers is a compliment to how these sound. Now, with that idea in mind, there is an interesting phenomenon on these with the finer transient details where they are almost cut off early. This is particularly audible on long reverb tails and some cymbal crash hits too. I think this relates to the limited depth of field, as if the speakers are so good at delivering the front end of the mix, they don't quite have the fidelity to deliver the micro details at the back of a mix. But as I said, this is me being very picky and comparing them to very high-end speakers. Now, if you do need ridiculously good low end, then I suggest mixing on the HiFiMAN and Ananda Nano planar magnetic headphones, and then you have the best of both worlds. The Nanos are simply the best headphones for low end transients, and I'll explain why in my review of them in this video here. Link in the description. The speakers integrate flawlessly with IK's ARC-X software, and there are two ways to calibrate them. Method one is to connect the MEMS microphone to each speaker. Follow the instructions in the manual using the calibration button on the rear of the speaker and measure each speaker individually. The second option is to connect both of your speakers to your computer and follow the instructions in the ARC-X software. This second option will measure both speakers at each measuring position, which will result in a more accurate calculation of the EQ correction and phase alignment needed. The single speaker measurement does deliver very good and workable results if you need a quick fix or don't have the ARC-X software with you. However, I would always recommend the full process for more accurate correction. By connecting the speakers, you can also access a plethora of features and options available in the software. Now, this is how ARC-X has measured and calibrated my room, and if I'm honest, I'm slightly surprised it's done such a good job at fixing an 8 decibel null or dip at 90 Hz, but it's not even attempted to fix a 3 dB null at 500 Hz. I feel like this is something Arc Studio would have fixed. But either way, with the calibration in place, the speakers are even more accurate and clear with precise separation. Now, something to note that I was chatting to Paul Third about is that you can see the correction profile wants to flatten the low end down to 30 Hz, which is below the capability of the speaker, which is flat down to 45 Hz. Now, the problem with this is that Arc is trying to force amplitude into these low frequencies into a speaker that isn't physically capable of reproducing them naturally. Now, this may partly explain the port on the back, which is a design concept many speaker brands use to try and manipulate physics into extending the frequency range of an otherwise limited speaker. Ports allow air to move out of the speaker in a way that generates harmonics, which can help the low end sound thicker and deeper. Now, this can be nice for listening, but when mixing, you'll find that this masks and smears frequencies in the octaves above, which can affect how you hear the low end. I would suggest setting the high-pass filter in the edit window to the same frequency as your speaker naturally rolls off at plus or minus 1 decibel. In this case, 45 Hz. Instantly, you can hear the harmonic distortion reducing and the low mids sound clearer. And at a 50 Hz high pass filter, these are very clean sounding speakers. I've placed links in the description below to these speakers. Purchasing these or any of your home studio gear through these links earns me a small commission, which helps me to continue creating what are hopefully useful videos for you. Now, I'll be honest, I was surprised to hear IK were updating the iLoud series only a year after releasing the Mark 1s, but the improvements solidify them as probably the best value for money speaker on the market. They genuinely sound really good. They have low distortion and you have loads of volume to play with. They're for anyone recording, producing and mixing, and if you're looking for a speaker that's under $2,000 or about £1,600, I highly recommend checking them out. Now I'm going to end the video with a prediction. The software gives us a clue as to what might be coming from IK. In the layout section, the options for different numbers of speakers suggest to me they may, and I don't know this for certain, but I'm guessing, they may be working on a multi-speaker setup version of this software to possibly include subwoofers and maybe even to accommodate Atmos. And this makes greater sense when you think that one of their first speaker packages available was an Atmos speaker bundle. I think at the very least a 4-way version of ARC-X to accommodate subwoofers would be awesome. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and your predictions. I've been Ed Thorne. It's been emotional. Thanks for watching. Be kind to yourself, and I'll see you on the next one.